Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. To support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. And to bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. That I will obey. The orders of. The President of the United States. And the orders of. Those officers. Appointed over me. According to regulations. And the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is your boy Josh here, also known as Outcast Actual. Sitting here with a couple of the guys. Got another show for Veterans Vindication tonight. Catch everybody up to speed what's been going on for last week. We got Devil Dog, Chris, and dude, I always butcher your last name. What's your last name? Vesna. I always say it's like Venzina.
Yeah.
I was like, it's Venzina. It's like, dude, it's Vesna. It's like, whatever. It's like Chris with a V. And then we also got Blake, the fragile hockey player that every time he sneezes, he breaks something.
Yeah, I still play.
Yes, that is true. So I'm catching everybody up a little bit on some of the stuff that's been going on. We've got the future Miss B, Miss Jennifer in here, but she likes just sitting quietly in the corner, not being seen or heard or anything else. So definitely big shout out, Stu, Ant, some of these guys. Ant's still out there in active duty right now, so rocking and rolling. I don't know if he's a gunny or who. I don't even know where he's at. He's a pretty cool cat. He was one of our seniors when I was going through.
Right on.
So definitely, I don't know. I guess if anybody wants to attend this weekend, Odin's is having a monthly meeting, which that'll be at 50. Oh, my bad, Ant. But my bad.
Call him Mazar and Gunny.
Yeah, my bad. My bad, brother. My bad. But this weekend we've got one of the Odin's meetings to go ahead and get some guys connected together. We've been making a lot of leaps and bounds with stuff. Talking with Team Rubicon right now about helping out a veteran that we're trying to work with, securing acreage all over the place. Somebody's all over me right now about trying to get something built in Livingston County for transitional housing. So it's definitely a lot of stuff on the horizon. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make the meeting. I think Clay's going to be filling in for me as taking head of the meeting because I'm going to be up in Marquette with Juice. So, have you guys heard anything about that at all? Like about this guy we're going up there to see?
Just from what you told me at the event on Saturday, but.
Dude, that was, and definitely, give those guys a good shout out. I mean, the guys from the Grow Green event. I mean, they had a bunch of us out there working security. Blake was out there on incognito in his board shorts and wife beater.
Yeah.
With his gack tucked in, and nobody could even tell that Blake was just rolling around ready to just shoot somebody in the face the whole time if he had to. And Juice loved it because he said it's the only job where he got paid to sit there and talk to chicks and drink all day. It was like, well, that's not why we paid you for security, dude. Not to sit there and talk to chicks and drink all day. But cool, thanks, Juice.
Well, I mean, he didn't. I'll vouch for him. He didn't drink until he got off.
Yeah, I know. I'm just giving him a hard time.
But he was definitely talking to chicks the entire time.
Oh yeah, definitely was. Huh? Oh, move my phone.
So you can see your face.
No one wants to see his face.
Nobody wants to see my face.
Except for you.
But and definitely like the guys from Fiona Group, did an amazing job with security like they always do.
Yep.
Last year they did the event. They asked them to come back, do the event again. You had a bunch of former Marines and Army cats walking around, armed, low profile, within a crowd of easily a few hundred people. Mm-hmm. Merchandise, thousands and thousands of dollars of merchandise just laying out everywhere. Cash registers out, just.
I think they did. I think from talking to Tony, I think they did 110,000 on the first day.
Wow.
Yeah, they did a lot. They had a very successful event.
Nice. And there's definitely got a lot of good people up there that was doing a lot of stuff. It was kind of cool. Like Ryan, a guy that I met a few years ago, he actually had his booth set up, and they've expanded one of his brands and stuff. And like a couple other people up there. It was actually pretty cool. I mean, it was a really good business expo networking event. Seeing a lot of good people up there. They did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I also saw some stuff that I was kind of questionable about. Like, there's one of the Marines that showed up that I got passed his information actually from the Fallen Wounded Soldier Fund, and then I started coordinating back and forth through Michigan Veteran Affairs, and getting them assistance. And that was the same week her and I were going out of town. So I called the VCAT Region 9 coordinator, Josh Parrish over there, and was just like, hey, can you link up with this guy? Called him up to speed. He started coordinating with Dr. Phillips to, see everything that was going on. I reached out to the division commandant from the Marine Corps League and was just, told him what was going on. It's a, post 9/11, OIF, OEF veteran that's needing assistance, gave them the spill. Their detachment jumped up. They started helping the guy. I saw him at the event wearing a VIP badge. And the funny thing is he didn't know, like, he had no clue because I was up there working the consulting booth.
Sure.
So I'm sitting up there, and him and his wife, I remember seeing them last year. And they came up, and they were talking to us. Well, they came up, and he was sitting there talking, and I just started recognizing the voice as he's talking and stuff. And then he said, a couple of key things. And I was like, wait a minute, what's your last name, bro? And he told me, and I just kind of looked at him. I was like, yeah, Josh Barrett, man. I'm the one you just talked to like 2 weeks ago on the phone that we were giving financial assistance to. I was the one that connected you with the Marine Corps League and these other organizations. And he was like, and he was just talking about hiring us to do some work for him. And like the rest of the guys just sat there looking at him. It's like, dude, you've gotten probably about like $5,000-$10,000 in financial assistance between the state, the county, other organizations reaching out to us. We're trying to get you help and all kinds of stuff. And you're just like, all right, well, those VIP badges, you got to spend at least $200,000 a year at that location in order to get a VIP
badge.
Him and his wife both was carrying one.
No way.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, man. I said something to Parrish instantly. He was like, you need to contact Dr. Phillips and just kind of, let them know what's going on over there. I mean, it could be nothing. I mean, like, somebody could have just gave him it, but that's still kind of. The way he approached me, though, is through all the flags up. It's just like, well, I know how expensive it is starting a company and, blah, 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 blah. Can you hook a veteran up? And, so there's so it's like, well, actually, all four of these companies right here are all veteran owned. I was like, absolutely, we can work something out, and just started going back and forth with him on what our hourly rates were, unless he just wanted to retain us and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then as we were going, like, I just sitting there and like, he was like, well, I think I got probably about 11,000 to spare, to get you guys. It's like, okay, well, I mean, it just depends on where you're at with the process.
And did you just talk to him 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I would have throat chopped the shit out of him.
I'm just sitting there, and like, I think Clay, like, he walked off. Clay was just kind of looking at him. It's like, that's that, and I just started explaining to him. Clay was like, mother, and I was instantly on the phone with Parrish.
Wow.
And I was just like, man, this is ridiculous. And then you turn around and then look at people, like who we're going up to Marquette for.
That actually
need it and is getting turned down the service, or getting refused left and right. I mean,
unreal.
Like, this dude, like, up there, like, that's the reason why we're going up there. I feel so bad for him, man. 6.5 years in, active duty in the Army, 2 Army Commendation Medals, deployed to Afghanistan and Iraq, was medically retired out, and they said it was like asthma and some other issues that he was having. Well, I can't remember exactly what year he got out, but they medically retired him, and now they're denying his claims, and he was just diagnosed with some sort of bronchial infection and a certain strain of AIDS. To where not like sexually transmitted, to where his organs are shutting down, like everything's shutting down.
And now they're not doing anything.
Nothing.
That's unreal.
Yeah. So that's what we're going up there. The Fallen Wounded Soldier Fund's helping. Like, the VA's denying his claim after he was medically retired for the same exact thing that was overlooked. The doctor records show that it was, ignored in the service whenever it was contracted. And now it's at the point to where, like, the guy's bedridden, can't get out of bed, can't do anything, and, like, his wife's freaking out. He's way up in the UP, so that the cold. Now, imagine your skin, like, just drying and cracking and bleeding and doing all kinds of stuff. So the cold's obviously not going to work. The closest hospital, VA hospital, to help treat him, Cleveland, Ohio. Dude, it's going to be a 9-hour drive from my house to his house. Cleveland's another 4 hours.
Yeah.
So you got a guy that was making like 30-something dollars an hour that just lost his job suddenly. Has been doing great. Got kids, got a wife, got their own, bought and paid, bought their house. Like everything's going great. And then just keeps getting sore and sore, starting to, skins ooze in and busting open, goes in. There's like, oh, yeah, you've got AIDS. You're kind of dying.
And then he goes, I'm sorry, what the hell did you just say to me?
Exactly. So it's actually really sad. Like, there's a few organizations that are stepping up to help out. And, like, we're going up there. I think Michigan Veteran Affairs stepping up. We've got a couple of people within the VA. They're starting to help out and push. Like, we're trying to get them to push for Social Security again because Social Security keeps denying him. When it says stamped right on his DD-214, medical retirement, or disability. Dude, I don't know.
The red tape and the bullshit that veterans have to go through to get assistance, like, it blows my mind that the organizations that are specifically made to aid veterans are turning people away who are. I mean, there's a guy that I know. He's I think you know him too. He lost his he lost his trigger finger.
Yeah.
Got 100% disability and is collecting on that every month. Still works out, still active, living life, getting all his free money because he lost a finger. But you got guys like this who are literally dying, lost their job, can't even get help. Like that, it blows my mind that is even an issue ever.
No, it never should be.
Any veteran, especially any combat veteran that comes home and has any medical problems should be taken care of with no questions asked.
Especially as something that it wasn't previous.
Right.
I mean, like, if you sit there and this guy's like doing 6.5 years, doing a couple of tours, he's a stand-up, soldier or whatever with the Army Accommodation medals, obviously he's not having too many issues.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, just boom, out of nowhere in the middle of his second enlistment, you're just going to medically just retire him and then be like, you're on your own, and the VA and everybody's like, dude, and they wonder why so many guys snap. It's the same thing. Like, I just went into another pulmonary test. I've got another one. Every 6 months, I've got to go in for pulmonary because they said that it's not adult asthma, but it's a bronchial infection of some sort that they don't understand. It's like, I do, man. It's like 9 years of going back and forth, sucking up all the toxins and all that bullshit that was in that sand, around all the burn pits and everything else, around, going in, clearing houses in, 2003, 2004, and freaking...
I mean, I was in high school then.
Dude, I mean, like, your nose is burning, your eyes is burning. Like, you don't know what's in there. You're just clearing it out and rolling through, You don't know what you're actually exposed to.
Yeah.
And that's look at, like, Beal, with what's going on with him. He's another perfect example,
His pancreas.
With his pancreas. So look at Piney, with the tumor that developed and, causing him to fall off a mountain and all kinds of crap. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, that's what a lot of this, and it kind of sucks that Riker had to drop out of the race. But
he did?
I thought somebody said that they saw it on Facebook that he dropped it out of the race. I'm not on Facebook. Like, I do a good enough job just trying to keep up with Instagram, dude.
Yeah.
But from what I'm understanding, like, I think he dropped out because he said he just wasn't getting the support he needed.
Really?
So
that's sad. Joe's a good guy.
Dude, he really is. He'll get it. When he does, I'm just going to laugh because he's going to turn everything upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, that's what we need, people like that. Like, it took a few weeks to do it, but even after we went up there to Genesee County and flipped out and got them to overturn that ruling, I think it was like roughly a week and a half, 2 weeks later. Roughly a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I got distracted.
Squirrel.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know. Oh, he was sitting there saying that he's not getting a lot of the support. He's not really getting a lot of the stuff that's going on. I saw him, I think it was last Thursday. And he said he's been going around trying to get some of the support. He's getting the veteran support by a long shot, but, I mean, it's just a lot of other people he's not really getting it. So, tell him to try it again next year.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully that's not it. Yeah, it is right here, April 27th. So he was withdrawing his candidacy for the 42 district. It's sad because everybody says they want change, they want all this stuff, and you got like good veterans and good guys like that. They're good, wholesome guys. They're going up there running for office, and nobody. That's like the golf outing, you know. It's like Clay having to pull the plug on that just because like everybody talks a big game, and then when it comes time to do everything, it's like,
nope.
That's a little bit. It's like, dude, it's a $500 sponsorship, man. And I was like, that's a little bit too much. You're the police department. What do you mean $500 is too much? All right, it wasn't really the police department. They were actually willing to like do a heavy sponsor. We were just somebody did say that. Right. It was actually a car dealership.
And you know, that's absolutely right. Is everybody, we support the troops, we support our veterans. How?
Yeah.
How like oh. You want to stand there and you want to make a Facebook post and you want to say, I support them, blah, 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 I'll stand by them. When it comes to doing, actually, like you said, making a change, where's the change? There is no change. Yeah. And unless, I mean, not to sound insensitive, but if you're not a vet and you haven't gone through the shit that we have, you don't know what we're going through. And for you to just, I support you, great, thanks. What is that? Like,
how?
Yeah, you want to give me a hug? Like, does that help you? Does that help you? That doesn't help me. Like, it's, you know, that's why I became a part of Odin's, was because we actually do stuff. And that's something that I can get behind. That's something I can donate my time to because we actually do. You and Juice going up to Marquette, and then driving another 13 hours back the other way. Like, what other organization do you know of that's going to send guys to go do that?
None.
Exactly.
Well, dude, the perfect example is last week when we had that healthcare at the VA when they were putting on the Core Health Seminar that they were coordinating with Michigan Veteran Affairs on. We go in there, and there's probably at least 15, 20 organizations inside this meeting, you know, and there's probably at least 2 to 3 reps from each organization. I walk in, I go in there with Clay and Matt. Well, as we're walking in, like, Parrish is coming towards me, and, like, everybody's listening. You hear all these people talking about this post-9/11 veteran that's living in a field in Ann Arbor.
Holy shit.
So they're all talking about him and stuff, and as we're walking in, like, I was sitting there looking around, I was like, how long have they been? He was like, I don't know. They were talking about this guy when I walked in. It was like, yeah, that's the guy that Bill's out there with right now, picking him up off the side of the road, getting him into the VA for care. It's like, you know, I'm sitting there looking at Parrish, like, people want to know where all the trust is, man. You've got 15, 20 organizations in here that are all talking about a guy that's on the street.
And not doing anything about it.
Not a single one of them's doing shit about it.
That drives me nuts.
And then you got some social worker that got up, right? Because all 3 of us were sitting in the front row.
Sure.
And then, like, he gets up and he's standing, like, right in front of me. It took everything I had not to just punch this guy. He said that people don't understand that veterans that are non-combat veterans have it harder to adapt than combat veterans do.
I'm
that
sorry.
It's hard. Yeah, that's what this guy said.
Sorry,
standing
what?
in front of all of us. And like, dude, I didn't know who was going to jump up first, me or Matt, to hit this guy. And like he looked down at us and saw like how pissed both of us got, and then turned around and repeated it. And sat there and said, and this guy is like, I think he was a 18-year Army. I think he did something with the Guard. He never went to combat, but his wife went to combat, and he sees the battles of PTSD from the Gulf War. And he's sitting there talking about this stuff, and he goes, but, you know, there's an underlying demon, which is PTSD with non-combat vets, which is a lot more severe than veterans that have gone to combat.
I would have thrown
Dude, I sat there and just, like, put my hand on my head and just looked down. It's like, okay, he didn't say this. This is in my imagination. I'm going crazy. This is the reason why they've got me, you know, taking meds. This is it. This is it. I'm hearing voices. And I'm looking up at this guy, and then Matt's just fuming. I was like, all right, well, I'm not hearing voices because Matt's just as pissed as I am. I seriously thought Matt was about to just jump up and kick his ass.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really easy to say for someone who didn't deploy.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've said before, I wasn't a grunt. I still deployed. I still saw a whole bunch of shit I didn't want to. I still had to do a whole bunch of shit I didn't want to. Do you know what? I did it because that's what I signed up for. But you're going to sit back in the rear with the gear and tell me that you have it harder.
Yeah. Because you had to keep the
shop going.
Yeah, base clean. Not real sure.
You can stay where the sun doesn't shine.
So what's up with new stuff over there with you, Chris?
No,
you shaking your head. You getting aggravated about that?
No, but it's all wrong, man. With what that guy was saying, like he started off wrong. Like, why are you comparing the two? Why are you comparing non-combat to combat? Why do we got to compare? Like, yeah, sure, one might be harder than the other. It might not be. I have no fucking idea because you only get to do one.
Right.
So I mean, why even put them against each other? Don't we have enough problems like that?
Well, and that's a lot of things is trying to pit everything together. But the big thing is with a lot of that is like they're starting to take what is it other than honorable bad conduct discharges, like all kinds of stuff, and like a lot of the VA is actually pretty ticked off about it just because of the fact that you've got a waiting list of 6 months to a year with validation, saying all kinds of stuff. Like they're going as far right now as, and this was an appointment I had just yesterday, I had a personal appointment, then I went in for kind of a personal and then a professional meeting. And like while we were sitting there before the meeting, and I was sitting there asking them stuff, and they're like just completely flabbergasted by this new stuff that's coming out.
Yeah.
Because now you've got a system that's already bogged down, that isn't getting veterans the care they need. But you look at a guy that's deployed 3 or 4 times, Purple Heart, broken bones, all kinds of stuff, and he's being pushed back for, up to a year. But you get a guy that was, not trying to offend anybody, but somebody that was a National Guardsman or something that, doesn't have any deployments or anything, or, his only active duty time is like, traveling around doing humanitarian missions or something. And then just because he's, I don't know. I'm trying to understand this logic, because like they're getting these guys in under 30 days and getting them care and getting them disability and benefits within like 6 months. And these are guys that have like never
off active.
They're never deployed. They've never done anything. These are guys with other than honorables,
really
back conducts, like. Which I mean, like during that time frame, like they were trying to wash out everybody they possibly could, and there's a lot of prima donnas, and but I mean to sit there, like come on, man. It's like anything else. Like you earned your keep. You know, like stop trying to push it off for the next problems. Like okay, well, we're just going to ignore the last 20 years worth of guys, and just start with guys now that have had troubles and got kicked out. It's like. No, those are the guys that, like, there's been a few of them. Like, there's one right now, one of the organizations that we don't want to work with because who they've got is one of their peer liaisons or mentors or something got kicked out for selling cocaine and Oxycontins in the Marines.
You gotta be shitting me.
Dude.
And that's their liaison?
That's one of their liaisons.
Holy shit.
So it's just like, really, dude? Because you got guys like me that I don't give a shit what you did or anything else. Like, I really don't.
Yeah.
But there's one thing, and that's selling or doing, like doing stuff. Like, especially if you were a drug dealer
in the military,
I ain't got nothing for you. And if you did it in my fraternity, in my fucking Marine Corps, you're a piece of shit. I don't care what rank you are. I don't care how long, what you did. You could have saved 5 million people. But if you're selling drugs in my Marine Corps, you're a piece of shit.
And probably selling drugs to Marines.
Yeah.
Like that's...
You're creating addictions. You're creating habits. You're creating post-traumatic stress. You're creating, bad conduct discharges, dishonorable discharges. You're creating all these things, and then you want to get out and sit there and say, well, hey, I'm here for my brothers and sisters. Like,
no, you're not.
Dude. You fucked over a lot of your brothers and sisters, bro.
There could be a flip side to that, though. I know you didn't see anybody ever taking the extra pain pills in the barracks? Really? Never? Holy shit, things changed then.
Oh, dude,
I
would have been the guy that would have got kicked out, dude, for catching people doing shit.
Yeah.
Like, like, it's one thing to drink and have a barracks rat around or, something like that, but, like, doing a lot of the hard stuff, dude, like, you take that shit off base, you don't get caught, you don't, You know, I don't have
out
it
of
around
sight,
me.
out of mind.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
just don't have it around because you're doing a job, and I always take my job serious. So if you're on your job, you're on your job. You got guys to your left and right depending on you, so you've got to complete your training, your evolution, your job, your task, your duty, whatever. Because if you fail because you're half-ass, then you're probably going to get somebody killed.
Yeah,
even in training.
Absolutely,
Right.
That's there was when I was in Okinawa, there was a really bad problem with the K2 and spice.
But how quickly do they prescribe you those opiates from the BAS or the Naval Hospital, though?
Not
They
the
were,
only.
that was what they were giving you.
Dude, that's where times because none of our guys, dude, like we never went into BAS. Like we never saw anybody. Ours was like a ghost town with tumbleweeds because everybody in our battalion was scared. If you went to BAS, you were getting kicked out. You were missing deployment. Like you stayed away from BAS. Like you would sit there and see the corpsman walking by and just sit there and whistle and like give like some hand codes, to get him to come in your room and reset your shoulder, like make some kind of sports splint for your ankle and just give you a bag full of ibuprofen.
It's even when there were guys in my unit, when you went to BAS, you got 800 milligram Motrins. You got told to drink water and change your socks. Unless the only time that I ever got prescribed painkillers was when I had major surgery. I had a metal plate.
Sex change.
How did you know?
I can tell by the missing Adam's apple.
Right. No, I had a metal plate and 9 screws put in my wrist, but they prescribed me 250 milligram Percocets.
Well, the question
Holy shit!
What deployment was the wrist?
Hey, Iraq was a tough time. Okay, you had to switch it up. It was my non-dominant hand, so now you know why it broke.
You see, whereas the Naval Hospital literally diagnosed me with, they said I was dehydrated at one point and gave me a bottle of Vicodin and sent me back to the barracks.
What the?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm not even fucking
What naval
around with
hospital did you go to?
Lejeune?
See, I went. The only naval hospital I went to was in Pendleton, and they were even.
Well, I mean that's Holly weird. They don't want to make people any weirder.
I know, but hey, I was in
stuff.
Paris Island, easy killer.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean I don't think I ever like. Even I broke my ankle and like we had to wrap it up, like ran it through the PFT and went in there and there's like, dude, it was like swollen like that big and all purple and it's like, all right, you got to go to the hospital. It was like skip BAS, go straight to the hospital. That's definitely broke. And I'm looking over, it's like if you go to the hospital, you're missing deployment. You're going back over, and I was just like duct tape and an extra pair of socks. I was like, all right, let's go. Motrin. You come up to me and sit there and try to give me cocaine or like Vicodin or freaking Oxycontin, I'd probably punch you in the mouth. And then when like a gunny or a staff sergeant or like Ann or somebody come walking by, and I'm sitting there like pummeling somebody, they know that it was either one he mouthed off to a NCO or staff NCO, or two, he probably had something on him he shouldn't have, and I just stomped his ass.
Yeah.
I was
What
that
if
asshole.
What if they would have offered you a J?
I probably still would have. I think it was once I got blackmailed twice I got blackmailed for that one.
Really?
One was very high upper echelon while we were in Afghanistan.
Oh, you got caught?
No. We caught them.
Oh.
Yeah. It was two very high upper echelon people, and like we smelt it coming up, and kind of walked up, and they were definitely sitting there off the front of the truck, overlooking a pass around the fly paint area, burning one, and kind of told us that we had to too, and then told the entire battalion that nobody's getting a drug test. It was like, okay. And another one is I walked into another event and a bunch of guys were doing it. When I walked in, I was like, oh shit. And all of them were like staff NCO and above, so it was kind of like one of those things. They just handed it to me, and I just sat there and was like, looked around, handed it back, and just turned around like slowly back out the door.
See, I know a guy that I actually used to be friends with, and he did HMX, he did presidential security for Bush, and then he went and because he was a field MP, and then got popped for smoking hash in Afghanistan on post. And then they found out that he stole, like, I think it was either Percocet or Vicodin, but he stole prescription pain drugs from a detainee.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
No, he got the big chicken dinner for that.
I mean, that's one of the big things right now, and that's why I was glad that the VA took that meeting, is because they're seeing it too with a lot of the addictions, a lot of the stuff, the monsters that are being created right now. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that the VA is actually the largest research institution in the U.S. Mm-hmm. Like they are the leading research institution for the FDA. Like every prescription medication that comes into the VA is trial based only. That's the reason why they always give you all these generics, and every 6 months to a year, the names of the prescriptions are changing and everything else. Like they're all trials. Yeah, like every bit of it.
We're a bunch of lab rats.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're getting it for free. Well, you get what you pay for.
Go in and ask anybody in that hospital that's in an upper position, anybody, and just say, does the VA conduct FDA trials on veterans? And I guarantee you're just going to be like, yep, sure do. When was the last time you checked your prescription list? When you sit there and you look at it and you're just like, oh, they changed the name again. No, that's the FDA saying, hey, there's too many side effects with that particular medication. You can no longer give it to veterans. So then they just roll out a new medication to overlap that one, and then 6 months later, because I know I was that idiot that sat there for 7, 8 years taking 13 different meds, and there was like every 3 to 4 months, like the medication kept changing. I was like, all right, something's going on here.
And you know what? And at first, when I went through and they tried to give me medicine for PTSD, they're like, oh well, we don't think this one's working, so we're going to give you this. And that's how they played it. That's how they spun it. Where, oh well, this doesn't seem to be getting the results that we're looking for, so we're going to try you on this. And now it all makes sense.
Dude, doctors are the biggest, most crooked drug dealers known to man. Like, they don't care about anything except for the riffs they get from these pharmaceutical companies. I mean, really think about it. How would pharmaceutical companies' medications get into your hands if it wasn't for doctors? They're not going to mail it to you.
No.
And who better, like, if a pharmaceutical rep walked up to me right now and said, hey, take these, it'll eliminate all your pain, it'll do this, this, and this, I'm just going to look at him and be like, dude, I don't know you.
Yeah.
But now if you're a VA doctor or family physician or, family practitioner.
You have that relationship.
You've got the relationship. You're saying, hey, this is a doctor, I trust this guy. Well, little does anybody know that look at the FDA's contracts on who holds all that. That's where the VA gets most of their money, is through pharmaceutical companies. Granted, yeah, you get taxpayer dollars and you get everything else, but actually look at who their majority donors are for people that are paying most of the salaries around there. It's pharmaceutical companies.
And then they won't go ahead and they won't endorse medical marijuana for veterans, because that's taking how much money away from pharmaceutical money away from the VA.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Well, that's one of the things.
It's one big game.
Well, that's one of the things we were just in there talking about was the hemp trial, the hemp pilot that we're doing right now. We're in the process of setting up to where, they couldn't say no. It's just like, all right, look, I'm making you guys aware that we're starting an industrial hemp cultivation. We've already got the veterans that are signed up. We're giving them free product, to start utilizing the CBDs as a receptor blocker to prevent the addictions and side effects of all the medications you guys are giving them.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there, like, a couple of people just smiled, it's just like, so you guys can sign up for, be a part of it, and we can just provide all these guys over to you guys so you can monitor them, or we're just going to do it anyway. Everybody's like, a couple of them was just like, so what exactly do you need from us? It's like one caseworker that can monitor 25 veterans. It's like, that's a veteran for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for the course of a couple of months. Just keep an eye on that vet. Let's see how they're doing. Let's get them off their medications.
Yeah.
And one person in there, which I know, she was smiling. She loved it. She was just like, oh my God, I'm going to love this.
And you know what? I can speak personally. CBD is awesome.
It is.
Like, with anxiety, like like you said, I'm a fragile hockey player, man. I got a lot of bad joints. But I take CBD, and it helps with that. It has no psychoactive effects, so I can take it, and I can pass drug tests at work, and I have no issue with that. But it's
our push pop this weekend.
Oh my God, it was delicious. Holy shit, it was good.
I got so excited. I was like a little kid when I saw that.
It was like a Flintstones push pop with CBD.
It was. I was just sitting there, like, just looking around the whole tent, like, looking at all the business places and everything in there. And I was like, look, and I was like, does that say, this is CBD push pops? And I just, like, jumped up and ran over there. He had, like, 15 different flavors. I was like, so many decisions. Got 2 of them, and then Blake and, who was it, Taylor.
Yeah.
They got those 2 from me, so I had to go back and buy a 3rd one. Freaking jerks.
Thanks. Well, you gave it to me.
Yeah, they were good, though.
They were good.
I was just like, after that, I was sitting there, my back pain went away, like everything. I was sitting there chilling, like,
yeah,
I got this.
My knee felt, after that, literally for the rest of the day, my knee felt so much better.
All it is, that's what nobody knows. Your body produces it naturally. I mean, your body's already producing, cannabinol, or cannabinoids. It's produced through your endocrine system. So all you're doing is like taking melatonin.
Yeah.
It's the melatonin to help you sleep. Well, all you're doing with CBDs is adding a antioxidant into your bloodstream that gets absorbed through your muscular system and just relaxes muscles. It's the reason why it's been proven to help combat seizures, migraines, so many different things, because it just you whether you use a dropper, you use a topical or anything else, it just relaxes you.
And honest, for the topical, I was at Juice's house. This was before we moved in together. Pounding migraine, couldn't even open my eyes. Sunlight, whatever. He had a topical.
Oh yeah.
Put it on my temples. 10 minutes. I was like, holy, like.
So he rubbed your head.
Oh yeah.
And it made you feel better.
No, I rubbed my own head, and it made me feel better.
Is that how it broke your wrist? That's right.
Yeah,
wrist, walk away.
Left hand, stranger. Break the wrist, walk away.
Well, that's what like a lot of this stuff now is like just seeing a lot of the research that's coming out now is awesome. Like we got a meeting tomorrow, go look at land and hopefully catch with a professor tomorrow. Talked with a professor yesterday who was just pretty much a prick. He was, man. He was just like, so what exactly you need from us? I was like, dude, we just need you guys, your signature on the application. That's it. He was like, all right, so what does this pertain to? It's like, well, we're going to do a case study, and CBDs for veterans and, blah, blah, blah. So what do you need from us? Nothing. Your name on the application. If you want, we can lease the land from you guys and pay you so much per acre if you need the money. It's like, well, y'all need more of a cultivation partner. Yeah, we're not interested in that. It's like, this is business and rural development, right? Mm-hmm. This is both business and rural development. And I was like, all right, well, you have a good day. And he's hung up. It's like, all right, buddy. Well, thanks again, University of Michigan.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Love you.
They're trying to push it over to Michigan State, but what a lot of these idiots don't know is it's already on a federal bill. Now you got Chuck Schumer that's jumping on board with it. So you got Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer, the 2 guys that are the most anti-cannabis guys in the freaking country other than Rand Paul. They openly spoke against it forever. And then Mitch McConnell just jumps out and starts pushing this Hemp Farm Bill Act of 2018.
Well,
now Chuck Schumer's coming out saying, yes, yes, yes. You got 38 states that have passed legislation. Like, why is the federal government not pursuing this?
Well,
like,
it's because it takes away from pharma. Dude, that's a no-brainer. We know why. It's stupid. It makes sense to everybody else, but that is a multi-billion-dollar industry that is not going away. No. And yes, is it shitty? Absolutely. Because there are other things that can help other people, but these greedy pricks are so up their own ass that they care more about money than they actually do care about helping people. So guess what? That's what they're going to do. They're going to continue to sit there and they're going to continue to make money and get rich, even though, and on top of that, fight anything else that tries to come in there, to compete with them, even though it's natural, it helps, and it's non-addictive.
Well, that's one of the funny things is, and you can't deny it. All right, first of all, anybody that Googles chemotherapy will see that 3% of the time it works. 3%.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a 97% failure rate. Why the hell are we still using something that does not work? All right, now you turn around and look, and I'm going to use my old man as a perfect example. Go in there, the cancer's aggressive. He's got roughly 8 months, a year tops to live. That's going on 2 years ago, 2.5, something like that.
Wow.
I mean, and that's CBD.
Yeah.
That was like doing the regimens, like you look online and everything else while you're going through chemo and radiation, doing the exact same regimens. He's still old, ornery, and just being a stubborn SOB down in Texas right now.
Is he,
I mean, he's got more issues from the scarring from the radiation than he does the actual cancer itself.
Now, is he using RSO?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're sitting there
that's-
saying they went from saying you've got 8 months to a year to live to where it did exactly what they said, to use that and progressively get higher dosages during radiation. He wanted to do the chemo. I didn't really agree with it. We did it anyway, but it's still the simple fact that it worked. I mean, like they even said with the chemo and radiation, it may prolong things. He may, it's really aggressive, where it's at, the type it is, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, shit. All right, well, nice knowing you, Pop.
And that's the same thing with one of my dad and Scott Taylor's best friends, Stick. He had, Parkinson's to the point where he couldn't walk. Started taking RSOs. He started walking without a cane. Like, you cannot deny results.
You can't.
You can sit there and badmouth it and say, well, it's because it has a very certain stigma. Anything to do with hemp or CBD is automatically grouped into pot and stoners and the 70s. Like, people think that, they're just using it to get high.
Do your research, dude. It was actually hemp was one of the largest commodities out of the United States other than tobacco. And I think it was something like 60-70% of the farmers in the U.S. fed their livestock hemp up until the 1940s when it was banned by the FDA and everybody. So they're saying it's a drug, it's cannabis, you can't do it. Because that was pharmaceutical companies finally coming around, starting to create all this stuff. And they figured out opiates from the 1880s and 1890s. They were getting all these people like Doc Holliday and everybody else. It was getting them sick and killing them and codeine. And they're just like, hey, we're on to something, guys. Let's go ahead and figure out if we can broker a deal with the United States government. And instead of actually having something that's healthy in hills, we can create a toxin that everybody can get rich off of and launch us into another superpower. So, I don't know. Pharmaceutical companies are just, yeah.
Did you know that the government also has a patent on CBD?
Yeah, that was back in, like, I think the 50s or something like that. Or something they filed on it. It's a certain type or whatever. But that's what a lot of people don't realize. There's, 107 cannabinoids inside of a cell, inside of a strain. And then you're looking at 3 of those are psychoactive. So you've got 104 elements.
I think it's just the one.
Well,
Only
you've got
the
three.
dominant.
You've got 3 different types of the THC, and then like you can activate the 2, but there's 3 forms of the psychoactive, and like you take those 3 forms out of it, and nothing else in it psychoactive, like nothing.
Right.
I mean, the rest of it's like completely harmless, and it's just antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, like just just all kinds of different stuff. So I'm not understanding, like, if these pharmaceutical companies really want to help people, why is it that there's only been 3 different to 5 different cannabinoids that have been isolated? They've had 50 years to do this process. They can make chemicals, they can make drugs, but it's like you're looking at like CBI right now. CBI has been proven to treat cancer, AIDS, like just seizures, like all kinds of stuff. It is listed at $500,000 a kilo for getting it for getting a process. And like CBN's another one that's like outrageous. Like it's the cure-all for everything. CBN will cure just about anything. Liver dying? No problem. Let me sprinkle some CBN on it. It's going to rejuvenate itself in 24 hours. I'm serious. Like this stuff, they call it the miracle drug. So why are pharmaceutical companies not pursuing this? Like it's beyond me. You got it. You like Monsanto that's trying to create new genetics so that way they can sue and shut down everybody. But like, why are these pharmaceutical companies not partnering with a lot of these hemp cultivators and a lot of these other people, like saying, "Hey, you know what? This is the way of the future. People are wanting healthy organic. They don't want cancer." And that's really what it's come down to. It's like the only thing you're guaranteed in life now is to get cancer, then die. I mean, it used to be the only guarantee in life was death.
Texas.
Taxes. Well,
Not
yeah.
Texas.
I thought you said Texas. I was like, Texas isn't guaranteed shit, especially not the Cowboys.
They can't even keep their players. They lost Dez and Jason Witten. See ya.
Sorry about your luck, ladies.
Cowgirls.
Honestly, none of this should be surprising as long as nicotine isn't Schedule 1.
Yeah. Well,
So, I mean,
there's so much that is wrong with this country. There are so many things that are so ass backwards. That
it's like he's saying that there's no way they can really profit off cures.
No.
If they keep everybody sick, they can make money off everybody.
And
the whole
hit
time
the nail on the head.
Population control as well.
they don't need to. They got these things now where they make nicotine taste like candy.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, dude, that's
They literally do. And they make nicotine is legal. You get nicotine in
18.
cigarettes.
Alcohol.
18 and you're good.
Yeah.
How many alcoholics do you know out there in the world?
There's more. There's
Tons.
Yeah, alcoholics.
How many weed addicts? Is that even a? I mean, like, there's.
Well, I know.
Has there been one proven case of withdrawals from THC?
No, but I
Withdrawals?
like
Withdrawals.
But I mean, the one like substance abuse is substance abuse. I mean,
I do know.
Cannabis can be abused.
I do know.
But
I do know a fair
guess
number of
I'll use
people
it.
that smoke weed all day, every day. But you know what? They go to work and they wait. Who's raising it? Oh yeah. But you know what? Do you go to work? Do you make money?
Oh, I guarantee I work probably twice as hard as half the people that I ever even cross.
And that's
the only way some
that's
can go to work.
and that's the thing is, it's so that, like I said earlier, that there's a stigma to it where if you smoke weed, you're a lazy bum. You're not contributing to society.
Oh, people don't want to see me when I don't smoke. It's either that or I got to take Xanax, Valium, ibuprofen, and sertraline just to calm my nerves.
Yeah.
And then you got to take 6 other medications to help you sleep and counteract all that crap.
Yeah.
So believe me, I don't like. You can ask these guys. Like,
Yeah.
I'll sit there and I'll just wake up one morning. It's like, I'm not smoking. I just want you guys to see that it's not that. And they're like, within a couple hours of me not smoking, they're just like, wow, dude, you really need to calm down, because I'm like pacing the floors. I'm just
Can
like,
you please smoke a joint now?
actually, I left my box at home.
Way to go, asshole.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Ching.
Where's the bell?
Oh, the bell's missing. There we go.
That's Mowgli's favorite.
Yep. Mowgli.
What's
That guy.
What's the bell for?
It's usually Camorn Law gets a bell, and then anything that's witty.
Yeah, gets a bell.
Yeah.
Gets a ding.
He's like,
Dinger.
what's up with the bell? Yeah.
Dinger.
So if anybody knows who Mowgli is, and Mowgli, if you're listening, you're a douchebag. just know that you're a douchebag. So our attorney's trying to get a hold of you right now. I would advise you to return his call. That'd be very wise of you. Trying to run off with a bunch of veterans' money and not returning calls, even to their lawyer, is not very wise.
Sorry, what?
What?
Yeah. Mowgli took off with our money, dude. And, like, he's not answering our calls, nothing.
I know where he lives. I'll go to his house.
Juice, he's not talking to Juice right now. Like, Scott knows what's going on. Like, yeah. We paid him $4,500 to start launching our marketing program and some other stuff, provide logos and everything. Yep, nope. Now that we're demanding, like, something in return, like, he's blocked all of our phone numbers, like, won't return any of our calls. It's like, dude, we've been to your house. We know where your wife works. Like, we know what business she started. Like, you know that we have a lawyer as our partner. It's like, are you stupid?
This is the first that I've heard of any of this.
Oh, really? Yeah, dude, I just blasted him last week on an email because he tried to call one. He didn't know I was a partner on another company. So he sends a proposal over to the other company. And like we're just sitting there, and they came over to the clubhouse, and he goes, "Well, look, we got this estimate in from this marketing company," and he just started going on. I was just like, listening to him, I was like, "Dude, if you're about to tell me there's Mike Moglin marketing, I'm about to smack you." And he just sat there and he goes, "I know y'all got an issue," and then I was like, "No, there's more than an issue." And I started explaining to him. He goes, "Oh, well, I didn't know all that." And he goes, "Well, this is what he gave us. He gave the company an estimate for $10,000." When we turned around and got the exact same thing price quoted for $2,500 for 3 different companies. So I instantly fired an email back to him. He was like, "You must have forgot that I'm listed as a partner on that company, so you need to contact me immediately, and we need to get this resolved."
I wonder if he blocked my number.
All right, he's not talking to Juice. He's not talking to anybody.
I'll call him when I get out of here.
Even Hammer told him, advised him. He was like, "Dude, this is a bunch of freaking Marines and a lawyer that you're trying to rip off. Like, are you stupid?"
I did not know that.
No, I don't know what's going on. Like, I've got probably at least 5 to 6 unanswered emails, probably about 20 unanswered voicemails, about 20 or 30 unanswered texts. He's not replying to Colton. He's not replying to Clay. He's not talking to Juice right now.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. Find out who people's colors are, or what their true colors are.
That literally makes my blood boil.
Yeah. So that's what we were trying to get it resolved within the company before it went
to the lawyer route.
Through the air, and it actually happened before we went to Florida. It was, I mean, this whole thing was going down before I went to Florida. That's why when we went on vacation, it couldn't come at a perfect time, and I was just like, he ended up crashing our consulting website and redirecting that over to the nonprofit website, and it wasn't published, and then crashed our other nonprofit website. So I don't really know what he did, but it was all jacked up, and I had to get in there and figure it all out and redo everything. And yeah, he's like, if anybody's thinking about hiring him for marketing,
Mike
Meglin, do not do it, and make sure you see deliverables and do not pay a penny until he provides you something showing you what his work looks like, or that he can actually do the work, and he's not just in there talking shit. So yeah, he wanted his defense, and his rebuttal on this was he's not providing it to us because we didn't list him as a partner on the company. And I was like, dude, the agreement was you provide us deliverables that we paid for. If we agree with the work, the timeline of the work, the quality of the work, and everything else, we need a marketing director, and we would offer you a position on the board. But you've been paid up front to provide work
that you haven't done yet.
So don't tell me you demand something. I demand either my money back or I demand deliverables, dude. You're not getting listed on a company. No, it's
You'd
not
have
happening.
to be confused in that situation.
I know,
he walks
right?
up, demands from you.
I know. It's just like, dude, seriously?
Wait, I already gave you money, man. Chill
yeah,
out.
It's like, what? Wait a minute, what? I think I'm an easygoing dude until, certain things but yeah, that was kind of.
I'm going to have to give old Mike a call.
Yeah.
You go, hey, man. Let's have a beer.
It is what it is. So
could have just gotten in over his head or something,
And that's why I think he scattered himself way too thin, and he was trying to juggle too much. He didn't know how to prioritize or how to task. But on the same note, you communicate that. You don't stick your head in the sand, start blocking phone numbers, start blocking calls, and it's a serious issue, especially when a freaking a lawyer's contacting you. So it's like, hey, dude, give me a call back. I need to know what's going on.
It's like getting a call from First Sergeant or something.
Exactly, dude. It's just like one of the partners of the company you just ripped off that just so happens to be a licensed lawyer in the state where you ripped his company off is trying to be polite and extend that olive branch saying, hey, give me a call back. We need to figure this out. And it was clear a couple of weeks ago. I sent an email. It's like, dude, if you think you deserve to be paid for something you've done, show me what it is. Mm-hmm. Provide me a timesheet, provide me the deliverables. And if you provide me the deliverables saying, hey, this is what my time was worth, this is what I made. Hey, cool. All right, cool. We'll keep the product. You keep the money.
Yeah, I wonder why communication like that is so difficult. That don't make any sense to me. I mean, I know it's not easy for us to ask for help and stuff, you know, but I mean, speak the truth already.
This guy, I don't know. With everything that's going on right now, because like the Fiona Group has taken off. I mean, with the realty deals, the transport, with all the cash deals and stuff, with the hemp cultivation, you know, with Odin's, with a lot of this stuff is taking off, you know, and doing all these things. Like, dude, all you had was one simple task. You know, you made the comment in our meeting that as long as you had at least $5,000 a month, you'd be happy. We instantly gave you a $4,500 retainer and was just like, all right, dude, can you produce this in a month? Absolutely. 2 months later, hey, dude, you still haven't produced anything. We paid you a month ago, you know, 2 months ago. Like, where's it at?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, dude, now you got a week. Now you got a deadline. Give it to us. Well, and then it was just like, instead of giving it to us, we got blocked. So, yeah, that's y'all's boy.
Oh,
well,
do
y'all.
not.
Hey, where do you get y'all's from?
Do not.
Well, you weren't in that.
Oh, what?
Why do you think that he was supposed to do? I went to him, and he was supposed to do pictures for him, like professional photos for me for this whole acting thing that I was doing. Yeah, man, we'll do it. Da-da-da-da. No problem. Set up times, fucking blew me off every single time. So I ended up having to go to somebody else who got me in within a week.
Yeah.
That like.
Dude, Something's wrong. Like, I honestly think the reason why he lost Mass, dude, is because, like, the reason why he was pushed out of the company is not being able to honor his part of the partnership, one, and two, like, he just got overloaded. Like, it just became too much for him, and he snapped because, like, you can even see it now. If it's more than one assigned task, like, he can't do it. He cannot do it. Like, he's sitting there trying to, you know, do this for CNS and do this for these guys and do this for this. And then he's got his wife's, you know, florist shop over here. And, like, he just checks out. Like,
he's got plenty of time to go out and take pictures of her and flowers and stuff.
And squirrels jumping from tree to tree.
Right. All nimbly bimbly. But he can't do what he's being paid to do.
Yeah.
Now I'm pissed.
Unless maybe you own those pictures.
No, dude, he doesn't like. That's
bad joke.
I've got some easy solutions. The guys didn't agree with it, but I don't think it's worth going to jail.
My mind immediately went to those same solutions.
Well, it did, and then I sat there and thought about it, like, and that's why I've been sitting there keeping my cool about the whole thing, is because, like, my instant reaction, that's so many guys that, you know, try to make those impulsive decisions and do things that you later regret. You know, it's like we were talking, you know, her and I were sitting there talking. There was a guy just not too long ago down in Kentucky, a veteran, ran into the woods with a gun. You know, luckily one of the veterans from up here was talking to the police department down there. The police department was going in armed, get the guy out.
That would have ended in a good
exactly.
fight.
And that's what they were sitting there telling me. It's just like, don't do it. If you guys just sit, turn all the flashing lights off, and just sit there. Give him an hour or two. Let the guy, you know, realize what's going on, and he'll come out on his own. Well, that's what I'm sitting here doing, trying to give Mike the time, trying to let him come out on his own. Well, sorry, dude. Now the lawyer's coming after you. If the lawyer's not fast enough, then the guys you ripped off might be coming after you. So, and we start messing around with a bunch of vets. And now you're looking over your shoulder because you're just a dumbass civilian
who doesn't know anything that we know.
That doesn't know shit, and you walk around with $20,000 worth of freaking equipment on your back at any given time. Well, I mean, we've provided this dude security for photo shoots because he's scared of his own fucking shadow. You know, so it's like, really, dude? I was telling one of the guys, I was like, I'll just run up and trip him and make sure he falls on his back, smashes all of his equipment. I was like, oh, dude, just steal the equipment. Nope, that's grand larceny. You go to jail for that.
Yep.
Like, but if you destroy his career and smash all of his equipment, sorry about your luck, buddy.
If he smashes all his equipment.
Well, I mean, trips and falls. I'm not saying I or you.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He's going to inadvertently destroy his own equipment.
Oh, he never ties his shoes.
He's tall and clumsy like me.
Dude, we had to carry him up when we went, like, the freaking building exploring, like the old antique building. I can't remember what it's called. Like, we went and started climbing around all the old warehouses and factories around Detroit and stuff. Dude, we had to carry him up everything. Like, he was tripping over his shoelaces, dropping stuff. I mean, dude's a klutz. I mean, hardcore. So if he falls down a flight of stairs, karma's a bitch.
Whoops.
But, all right. Well, this got 2 seconds. Appreciate it later. And, yep, this one looks like it's time to end as well. So
All right.
definitely appreciate everybody for your time. And, yeah, do not use Mike Moglin. Moglin Marketing or
Meglin.
whatever. Meglin. They suck. Guy's full of it. And he's a thief. So appreciate everybody for listening. See you guys again next week. Peace out.
Yeah.